Hello and welcome to the RCB radio show. This is Nicholas Rynne here. I'm joined as usual by Seamus Hayes. Welcome, Seamus.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Seamus, we've a really busy weekend of hurling last weekend, and we know the county finalists now. Ballyea and Éire, a unique pairing, I suppose, for the county finals. So we're delighted with that. And we'll talk about the county final next week. It'll be a big week for both clubs. This weekend is the turn of the football semi-finals in senior, and of course we have an intermediate final and a junior final as well to look forward to. So we'll focus in on those games, and I suppose the first one we want to talk about is Éire are facing Corofin, which is a unique pair in itself as well. Like Corofin coming up from intermediate ranks, and I suppose. Nobody expects them probably to be here, like at this semi-final place, but they find themselves here and on merit as well. Like,
yeah, deservingly so that they have qualified. I suppose won the intermediate title last year. Little fortunate maybe to have won it on the day because Kildare laid right up to the very last minute, and Corofin got through for a couple of goals and turned the tide and captured the title. And from early this year, they have been showing signs of progression. And they went through Division 2 league for the Gary Cup, went through it and won the title, deservingly again, beating Lisicasey in the final. And they got better with every game. They have great pace. They're very well organised, very well coached, very, very fit team. And Jamie Malone, who missed most of last year's competitions, club and county, because of a serious injury, is back this year and has been getting better, I would suggest, with every game. Great leader in the team, and they have many great players. And they're deservingly in the semi-final. I suppose Éire, as the defending champions, didn't have a good league, which was understandable because they would have played the league, I'd say, with no more than 2 or 3 of their championship winning team from last year on any given day, because of all the commitments their players had to the 2 county teams at senior level and to underage county teams. They played the league without those. But since the championship started, my God, have they been very impressive. And, most people would feel that it's theirs to lose now at this stage. But that might be a little bit unfair on Corofin, because Corofin have been impressive. And I know, knowing the way Paul Madden thinks, he's not going to underestimate the Corofin challenge. So I think we're into for one hell of a game, attacking football from both sides, great pace in both sides. And I'm really looking forward to that game on Sunday.
Yeah, Corofin, of course, we kind of look at that Corofin. They arguably were in the game of the championship, I thought, the last time between Lisicasey and Corofin. I thought that was superb football played in that. It was no systems, it was just full-on football and really, really enjoyable. And, Gerard Kelly, Gerard Cahill, the Dermot Cahill, Fionn Clancy in the attack, they all stood up there in that, and of course Jamie Malone and Sean O'Brien in midfield, and their defence as well. So
correct, yeah. That was the most entertaining game, maybe not so enjoyable from a Lisicasey point of view that they ended up on the losing side, but it was. If you look at the 4 quarter-finals, a couple of them were very, very defensive orientated and not rather boring to watch, I suppose, from a spectator's point of view. But this was full on, great scores from both sides, like a 119 to 16 points was the final score. I suppose in Clare football, that type of a scoreline doesn't come around too often. Now I suppose we've been so used to over the years to seeing a lot of games 4 points to 3 or even 2 points to 1. Low scoring games, but this was really a real flat out all attacking game from both sides. Some great points kicked from both sides, but at the end of the day, Corofin were the better team. They were the fitter team. They were the more evenly balanced team, and they kicked some marvellous points. And they had the players come on from the panel. They have a strong panel. Kevin Keane, who's been one of the target men all year, came off the bench the last day and straight away kicked a magnificent point. So they have a lot of options, and I would suggest that unless nerves get to them, I think that they would really put it up to Éire.
Yeah, absolutely. Éire, on the other hand, they're a bit like Ballyea. They seem to be coming good at the right time. They seem to have timed their run well. And as you alluded to, not a great league, maybe the championship and a few days as well, but they're really coming good now and at the right time.
Correct, and at the right time, and Matt McInerney in particular has been picking up some great scores, and he has, been a key member of their squad up to now. Gavin Cooney, captain last year, and still holding the captaincy's role, and a great leader in the team now. If there is a concern, I suppose, is for maybe the fitness of Kieran Russell, who's a really key player in the lineup. He's struggling to shake off a leg injury, and he's a key player in both our hurling and football teams. So hopefully, for the club's sake and for his own sake, that the injury heals up sooner rather than later, because he is a vital cog. But he's there, and Aaron Fitzgerald is there, and while he doesn't score that much, but Ikem Uguero is a fantastic player up front. The amount of possession he wins and the opportunities he creates for the teammates around him, and they are converting many of those chances. And they have Darren O'Neill, 6 foot plus at midfield. So they have a lot of options, and they certainly can't be taken for granted. And I suppose most people would say at this stage it's probably their championship to lose. It will take a big effort from anyone to knock them off their pedestal, but that's the way a championship goes. You have to be at your best every day, so they can't afford to take any chances. And they're going for the double. They have 2/3 probably of their players involved in both, and it's difficult to keep that going, and obviously hoping to avoid injury, and you're in a different time of the year now, weather-wise and condition-wise, and maybe it's that bit harder to get through without injury. But if they can survive injury, I think they would have a slight edge maybe over Corofin from experience and the fact that they have been regularly involved in senior action over recent years.
Yeah. Kieran Russell is in a tricky situation because he has an injury that's not too serious, I believe, but it just needs rest. And you're in a county hurling final and a county football semi-final, you'll get anything but rest, but I suppose he'll have to rest during the week. And that's so it's a tough one. But they have Mana Starty and O'Connor, and of course Aaron Fitz and McGrath and again they're formidable defenders.
Yeah, they have a very, very strong panel, and they have it's a strong panel, and it's a 20-man game now, as most managers will tell you. And I suppose from Kieran Russell's point of view, they are the football championship holders. There's over 30, maybe nearer to 40 years since the last won the hurling title. So there would understandably be a very great eagerness amongst their followers to bring the hurling title back, so maybe there would be pressure on Kieran maybe to try and focus on that one. But knowing Kieran Russell, he wants to play every day. He's a born leader. He is a key man in both teams, gives leadership up and down the field, and neither side will want to be without him for any few minutes. So unless someone tells him go home Sunday, he will be there togged out and ready for action, because that's his style. Yeah,
I'd say if there was a rugby game on in Shannon, he'd want to go down and play that one as well. Is that kind of
correct? That's his style. Yeah, he's a leader and loves playing games.
So it's an intriguing one. That one, I don't know who they're probably tossed to change jerseys to both with red and white, and I'm not too sure what the.
But as far as I know, they met not too long ago, and Erogue wore white and Corofin wore green. They're the alternative colours for both clubs, and I think that's what will happen. That's what will happen this week as well. It's
yeah. So that's eagerly waited. I think that's on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
That's correct. Yeah, that's on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. The other semi-final then is a West Clare. I won't say West Clare derby, but it's a West Clare clash anyway. The old dogs from the wrong road, Kinmurray Bricken, this is nothing new to them to be in the semi-final, but in Steinman are back in the semi-final again. They were in the final a few years ago, but contrasting maybe styles. In the Steinman got there, it was a poor game the last day. They're going to really have to up their game if they want to stay with Kinmurray Bricken. I feel they have to really change their style of go forward and go for it. I know the last day was a local derby and they had to be conservative, but a semi-final you can't afford to be 7 points. Certainly won't win a semi-final for you.
Well, you'd expect that you'd expect that would be the case, but at the end of the day, the result is what matters. And Ennistimon got the result the last day. From a spectator's point of view, it wasn't a great game to watch, and I'd say some people maybe left and went away because they weren't enjoying it. But Ennistimon's job is to win and get to the next stage of the competition. What's making this game, I suppose, so interesting is that they beat Kilmurray in the group stage, beat them by a goal, So and Ennistimon, as I've said a few times before this year, they've been so close over the last couple of years. They've been in the semi-final, they've been in the final, and they haven't got over the line. They've won a lot at underage level over the past half dozen to 10 years or so. And most people would accept, including Ennistimon people, accept it's time to go, to go take the extra step and win at senior level. So from that point of view, they've been coming through. They have a nice mix, a lot of young players in the team, and I suppose if you look back on their last day out, probably the youngest player on the team dictated matters and ran the show, if you like, Brindy Rynne. A real talent, but more or less everything went through him. But the Rynnes are key players in this team. Brindy, Killian, Sean. Sure. There's 4 or 5 of them there, and they're key members of the team. And Cathal Riley is an experienced player. Have been through winning All Irelands with his native Corofin and Galway, and he's a key member of the squad as well. Adam Ralph at full back has been having a great year. Ger Quinlan, the coach, has done an awful lot of work with him, once the occasion doesn't get to them, I think, and they will have the confidence of having beaten Kilmurray already. But Kilmurray this year, I suppose a bit like last year, Kilmurray struggled in the league. Coming towards the end of the league, when relegation from the QC Cup appeared to be a strong possibility, they started to pick things up. They got players back that had been out through injury and hadn't started back training, and got them in. And now they have a fine mixing. They have the experience of the likes of Darren Hickey, their captain, Martin McMahon, Michael O'Dwyer. They've been around a long time, and they have enough senior middles that they could nearly give out to other clubs between them. I suppose Enda Coughlin, big loss, out with a serious knee injury, and probably won't play any more this year, but he'll be there to guide them. But then they have the youthfulness of Dermot Coughlin Jr., who's back after a lot of injuries over the last 2 years. Keelan Sexton, I suppose, is in top form. He was outstanding the last day in their game against Cratloe. I think it was 1-8 or 1-9 he finished with. And his free taking has been outstanding. So it's going to be very hard to stop them from getting to another final. And a lot of the public are kind of saying we'll have a Kilmurray or Oak final. Now, from an experience point of view, that might be okay, but they have to get over these games at the weekend. They cannot look beyond the semi-final. And Ennistimon, as I say, are bound to have gained confidence in the fact that they beat them earlier in the campaign, and they're not going to be. They won't be kind of sitting back. They don't play maybe the most attractive attacking football, but it's all about winning. And while they have the ball, as the fella says, the other side can't score. So that's Ennistimon's motto, I would say, and they will put it up to Kilmurray.
Yeah. Kilmurray, of course, will be without the end of Jason McCarthy, who is a very mobile and very strong character and strong individual. And then when you look at Ennistimon, it looks like Cathal Malone is not going to make it. I'm not sure now, but he didn't make it for the hurling last week for the bridge. So both teams, I don't know if they'd balance out, but Cathal Malone would be a big loss, surely.
He's a massive loss to Ennistimon, 6 foot plus, an extremely fit player. Missed out on the game against St. Brecons, and word is that he may not play again this year. That that the injury is the type of injury that needs a lot of rest. But I'm sure that he's a native of Ennistimon, and when the need is greatest, players tend to do anything that they can to help their club. So there may be 10 or 15 minutes in him if it's required. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But he will, if he's not available, he will certainly be a loss to them. Yeah. But on the other hand, like David Fitzgerald, has been playing very well. Got the penalty in the opening minute the last day, playing very well. Kevin Hare, has come on in the last 2 games and has made a remarkable contribution each time. Has really caused problems for the opposition. I'm sure he's going to be featured strongly on Sunday. Whether he'll start or not remains to be seen, or on Saturday even, but he certainly has a key role to play as well.
Yeah, they have a couple of lively forwards there this time as well. Sean Rynne is gelling well into that team now. He's very young lad, and Ryan Barry is another lad who he may not start, but he's certainly a lively player as well. Like, so they have a few more options as well.
They have, and certainly against St. Brecken's, I can still remember clearly Ryan Barry winning a crucial ball near the end. When St. Brecken's were trying to get back up the field, chasing an equaliser, and Ryan Barry won a crucial ball and won a free off it, which eased the pressure on his side. So those fellas have a lot to offer. They're going to have key roles.
They have indeed. It's another big game for the weekend. The two semi-finals. Would you put Kilmurray side favourites?
I would, yeah. You'd have to on the experience alone, and they have a powerful management team as well. Between James Murray and Dermot Whelan and Audrey O'Dwyer, David Russell, and then they have the guidance and the expertise of Mick Bohan. So they have a marvellous backroom team, with loads of experience. And that's in tight games, a move or a switch by a group like that can often win a game. Now that's not to say that in his time and don't have, obviously Jack Quinlan has been around the block and had a great career with Clare. Brendan Rowan himself, Mark Shanahan, the team manager, they've been around for a while and they know football. But you'd have to give Kilmurray the nod on the experience, both in the background team and on the field of play with the Michael O'Dwyers and the Martin McMahons and Darren Hickey and these guys.
Yeah. Well, by Sunday afternoon or early Sunday evening, we'll know the county finalists, and so it's a good weekend there in Cusack Park. Big intermediate final coming up. Cora Clare, who went down last year, it will be anxious to get back up now, but they're replacing battle-hardened, to say the least, Kildysart, haven't come through replays and extra times and God knows what. And I suppose when you have to go into replay, it shows your character. You have to go to extra time, penalty shootouts. All that is character building for Kildysart, and they obviously Cora Clare, I think, are favourites, but they won't get it all their own way, certainly.
Certainly not. And Kildysart also, apart from the experience that have gained this year from the extra time games and the replays, they've showed great character to come back from the final defeats of recent years. Last year was heartbreaking. They had the game won. Time was up. Yeah. Their supporters were getting ready for the celebrations, and Corofin struck for 2 goals in the space of a minute and snatched it from under them. The same thing had happened 2 years previously with St. Brecken's. Maybe the margin wasn't as big then, but they looked to have it won, and St. Brecken's finished strongly. So, but Kildysart have shown great resolve in coming back from both those really heartbreaking defeats, as well as what they've done this year. This is their 4th week in a row playing. I suppose that's tough on any team. But the nature of the championship, the way it's run now, is such. There's fellas from Cora Clare who are involved in the county hurling final 7 days later, like Pierce Lillis, Damien Burke, Tom Downs. So all those fixtures, things that you factor into fixtures. But I suppose the fact that Cora Clare have been playing at senior level for the past donkey's years, and they were relegated into last year, and they're one step away from coming back up, I suppose suggested they have a slight edge. I wouldn't certainly rule Kildysart out of this, but there's a big blow to Kildysart's hopes in the loss of Dermot O'Donnell. About a month ago, he picked up a serious knee injury and ruled him out of the campaign. He was the top scorer up to that, key member of their attack. And I think it's fair to say that their form has dipped a little since they lost him, but they still have had the resolve to battle through and come through. So they're going to take beating. It's going to be a very close game in my view, and at this time of the year. And the intermediate championship over the last 10-20 years has been the most difficult one, maybe arguably, to win with the teams that are involved in it. But you'd have to give the nod to Cora Clare that that their experience at senior level, with the likes of Pierce Lillis and these fellas, and there's a couple of young fellas have come through very much. So Michael Gary, Brian McNamara, the Kieran and Pádraig O'Donoghue, Jack Morrissey, who may miss out. He's struggling to shake off an injury, but a talented footballer as well. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I think there'll be a very big crowd in Dundee for that game.
Yeah, there will be a big crowd there. It's right. I suppose that heartbreak that you talk about, that was an amazing game last year. We were ready to go away home. Kildare had won, and as you said, the 2 goals in the middle. It was just incredible way. It reminded me a lot of the '94 All-Ireland final between Limerick and Offaly.
Yeah.
You have it in the bag, and a minute later it's gone from you.
It's smashed a minute later. And I suppose it shows the standard that's at the intermediate level when you see where Corofin have got to this year. They've won their league.
Right,
They're 2 games away from being county senior champions, if it worked out that way. So it shows the standard of the intermediate championship. And that's going to be a high standard game. It may be defensive minded, because neither side will want to give an inch to the other side. So it mightn't be as free scoring as maybe last year's final or recent games at senior level. But I think it'll be very close.
Yeah, on the one hand, Kildare will say like that we should have won it last year, and the other hand, Clare will probably say, well, we shouldn't even be down here, because they did play really great football last year, in spite of the fact that they were relegated. But they were playing good football. They had a few games that just went against them that forced them down.
Yeah, that's right. They lost a couple of games narrowly, but the fact remains that they didn't win a game in the senior championship last year. So I suppose on that stat alone, you can't argue against the fact that they were relegated. But because they have knuckled down straight away. The management team that was there last year straight away started putting plans in place to make a quick return to the top flight. And here they are 1 step away now. So it's going to be intriguing. It has all the ingredients of a great contest and a tactical battle. I think it will be different. See who will be marking who, and like Emmett McMahon has stepped up to the plate in recent games for Kildare. He's been their top scorer. Who Clare are going to try and put on him? Will it be his county teammate, Pierce Lillis, who's the Clare captain? There's a lot of questions to be asked that will be answered, I suppose, on Saturday evening.
Absolutely. So one we look forward to as well. And then we have the matter of a junior final where we have the Southwest Kildare against the Northwest Liscannor. And that should be another fairly hectic battle.
Yeah, I suppose Liscannor have suffered heartbreak over the recent years. It's not that long ago since they contested successive county senior finals. But I suppose depopulation and retirements of a number of their key senior players, the likes of Brian Constantine and these guys who were top class inter-county players, and they drifted back down the ladder and found themselves back in junior. Kildare have had a lot of heartache over the years. They've been playing at junior level, but I remember my own club, we beat them in the junior final of 51 years ago, 1971. They've been trying to win and win and win. But in recent years, they've been part of an amalgamation with Kilrush at underage level. They've contested a couple of minor finals. And quite a number of the young lads from Kildare have been the leaders in that Kilrush-Kildare amalgamation. And they're now at adult level, and they're now playing key roles with the Kildare club. Brendan Crowley, who was a very good player with Kildare in his day, is managing the team, and he really has and put together a very good squad this year and a very settled-looking team. The likes of the Pine brothers, first cousins of Gary Brennan, sort of the football is in the blood. They're key players as well. So, from that point of view, I suppose Kildare would love to win this one. The sides met back in the league. Are in the league stage of the competition, and Kildare were victorious. Now, Liscannor have improved a lot since then. They have 2 very, very experienced players playing key roles in their captain, Alan Classy, former county captain as well, and Niall Constantine, both of whom had long careers with Clare, and they're key members of the squad now and have leading roles to play. So it's going to be an intriguing game. Conditions may have a lot to do with it. If you get a windy, wet day, there's always a wind in Milltown. It's on a Milltown and Saturday, so how the young lads of Kildare will cope with that against the experience of Liscannor might be a question. But going on the forum so far this year and the scores that Kildare have been running up, I would give a vote to Kildare to win this one. You just never know. It's a final, and Liscannor are battle hardened, so they're not going to be easily pushed aside.
That's for sure, they're not. Absolutely. So it's a big weekend of football in all three grades. And just last weekend we had the ladies' football final, Seamus, and the Banner have just on a very narrow scoreline got over Kinnahill. They're very hard to beat. They have a track record that's unbelievable, the record that they have. So
And they have a track record, and they have a group of players there who have been there well over a decade now, and who have medals to burn.
yeah,
And like Niamh D is a key player, and she kicks some marvellous scores, I'm told, last week. Now Kilmihil led at half time, and Kilmihil have been their closest rivals in recent years and beat them 3 years ago to interrupt their run. But now they're back, and this is another 3 in a row for them. So 13th title in 15 seasons, which is quite remarkable.
amazing.
And obviously now they will have a right cut at the Munster Championship, because I think in the back of their minds, that's one that they want. I think they've won it once, but that's one that they want. I saw a game last year between themselves and Care from Tipperary, and it was an absolutely fabulous game. Went to extra time, some great scores, and the Banner can match anybody, and I suppose there's a matter that's their target now, is to win Munster and have a cut at Munster. But it was another big day for them, and a big day for Fergus Rovers as well, in that they won the intermediate title, and their team of 25 years ago, which won the senior title, was honoured on the day. They were a powerhouse back then. They had 8 or 10 titles in a short space of time back in the 70s and 80s. And they were relegated, I suppose, 12 years ago, and now they're back up at senior level with a lot of young players, and great work being done there by the likes of Eamon Finucane and Ger Keane, to get them back up. So, they will be back competing at senior level next year, and hopefully they'll be hoping to challenge the likes of the Banner in a couple of years' time. But for now, I suppose the glory belongs to the Banner. They are the powerhouse, and they'll carry the Clare flag proudly now in Munster.
Yeah. Absolutely. As we're talking ladies sport, and it's soccer, I did just to acknowledge the fantastic win by the ladies, our international soccer team, with a great win over Scotland. It's some achievement to get to a World Cup, something the lads can't do, but to go to Hampden Park.
It was a magnificent achievement, and the thing that struck me during the week, talking to a lot of people that I would normally associate with following soccer, were glued to the game the other night. And it was a marvelous. It's one thing to win and qualify, but to win on your opponent's ground. Scotland were favourites and would have been carrying the favourites tag if the game was in Dublin. But Ireland went to Scotland, went to Hampden Park, and won it, and my God, the performance and the quality of the goal scorer when she spoke after the game, and she was very down to earth, and she remembered the tragic week in Donegal, her native county, and she's won a lot of praise for that.
I've no doubt, Seamus, we'll all become experts in the next before the World Cup and during the World Cup. I can remember back. I lived in London, and during Jackie Charlton's era, we were in London. We were away from all the scene here, and there was never soccer in our house, to be quite honest. It was all GA. Yeah. When they came back home I found that my mother was an expert in soccer.
So that's the way, yeah. There will be, as you say, a lot of experts now, and they'll have huge support. Whether people will travel over there or not, but they'll have huge support. All you can do is wish them well and hope that they do the country proud.
Yeah, it'll certainly give a lift to people too, and it's given a lift to the Donegal connection, all of that, and in what is a tragic and sad week in Donegal. It's terrible to see what's going on in funerals, and that's 7 funerals today. So just to wish those people the very best and
sympathies and I suppose you can't let the occasion go on without. We talked about here earlier on. The great Jack Heaslip passed away during the week. A tremendous sports follower, tremendous GM, and a former selector with Clare hurling teams, and a great supporter of Aero, but a real follower of the game of hurling in particular, and his native Kilkenny. Passed away on Tuesday morning, having celebrated his 96th birthday the night before. So we have to extend sympathy to all of the Heathcliff family and the Aero Club, where he was a very proud member.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I ever walked down O'Connell Street without meeting Jack, and he always had a word, a salute or a word. So a big loss to the town and the community and his family. Seamus, I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else to discuss. We'll look forward to the football the weekend. We'll have a chat next week about the county final. We'll have a bit of a county final, especially in the hurling final and in the
Intermediate hurling final and senior B hurling final. Yeah, another a big weekend for hurling next week. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So Seamus, thanks a million, and God bless, and I talk to you soon.
Okay, Nicholas. Thank you.
Thank you.